Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Sir?
He was being nice. You're an...
Sir? It's a house!
Did you hear what I said?
It's a house!
I'll just... I don't know where the other sound effect is. I'm just going to come on right away there. Yeah, it sounds like there's some news reports out there that they've identified. I don't know if they're saying the name yet, but sounds like they've identified the shooter, right? I just put out a video a few minutes ago. I'm always making a video when there's something else happening. Like yesterday, I made the video just before they put out those pictures again, of the suspect number 2. Now, I'm wondering if they made contact with that suspect number 2 or whoever that, I'm just calling him a suspect, but it's just like a person of interest that they wanted to talk to. It's just easier to speak that way. Number 2, maybe they talked to that person and got the name somehow, But also, if you didn't see the video I just made, maybe go watch that if you want to get the condensed version of the movements. Some interesting stuff from last night's show condensed down to 13 minutes instead of 3 hours and 30 minutes. All right, let's see. So here is... looks like Boston 25 News. Hey, thanks, Susie Clue. Thank you. Says authorities investigating the deadly shooting at Brown University over the weekend have identified the suspect. A law enforcement source told 25 Investigates on Thursday. 25 Investigates has learned that investigators learned the identity of the suspected shooter sometime late Wednesday evening. And that's what we were saying even last night. I said, I think for sure they were going to identify that one individual, and I think that individual maybe led to the other one. And then today I was thinking, how about this as a theory, that other person was somebody that was aware maybe of what this guy might be doing, and the suspect number 1 knew that guy was aware and sort of saw him, glanced and saw him, and then he's sort of being chased by that person, trying to catch up with him, and the guy gave up and walked away. Wouldn't that be interesting if that's what was happening there? The suspect has not been located, so they haven't found him yet, and Boston 25 News has not been provided a name. So we have that. Then we also have investigators look at a possible connection between Brown shooting MIT professor's death, and that MIT professor that was shot. So it says authorities are looking at a possible connection between the mass shooting at Brown University. Wouldn't that be crazy if the guy was on the run, he went and killed that person too? In Brookline earlier this week, sources tell 5 Investigates. The information about a possible connection between the 2 incidents was developed in the last 24 hours as detectives working on both cases compared notes. Man, that's crazy. So he could have left that area, and because remember the shooting of the MIT, I think was the next day or the day after that, and that could have been the same person. This is crazy, right? Let's see. Nuno FG Lorero 47 was shot Monday night. Yeah, so Monday was the 15th, and the shooting took place. Wasn't that on the 13th? So yeah, just like 2 days after that. On Saturday, 2 Brown University students were killed and 9 others wounded. On Saturday, 2 Brown University students were killed and 9 others wounded when a gunman opened fire in the Boris Hawley Engineering Building where exams were scheduled. The 2 Brown University students were killed and 9 others wounded when a gunman opened fire in the Barris and Hawley Engineering Building where exams were scheduled. The 2 students killed in the shooting were identified as Ella Cook, a Birmingham, Alabama native. Now they're not spelling with an E at the end on this one, but I've seen her name written with the E, so I don't know. And leader of the College Republican at Brown, and Muhammad Aziz Umerzakov, a freshman who was studying to become a doctor. As of Thursday afternoon, 6 of those wounded were in stable condition. How many of you guys think it's going to be the person that everybody kept mentioning on Twitter? That student. I bet you it's... I have a feeling it's not going to be that Mustafa guy that everybody kept mentioning. It's a pretty common first name, so I'm just not going to say the last name. I bet it's not going to be that person. The reason I don't think so is... I mean, they did shut down the guy's page, but if they just discovered the name last night, how could it be that person? You know? Maybe they were finally able to confirm it last night. I guess that would be a possibility. You never know. I mean, the person does look similar, for sure. And then there was another image that somebody sent yesterday with another person, and that person looked like the suspect number 2. So I don't know how they're connected. And when I say suspect, I'm just saying that makes it easier to describe it. Suspect 1 and 2. Instead of saying suspect 1 and POI number 2, it just gets too complicated. I don't know what the second person... They are connected in some way, though. They were interacting with each other. Let's put it that way. Why did he become I don't know why they cleared his... I don't know if they cleared his name. They also scrubbed something off the website. I'm just saying, I don't know. It just sort of feels like it could be something different. It might be, though. The guy looks similar, and his writings indicate that maybe... we know, Dante. Can't you see the title of the video? Are you a clown? What's going on, man? Hey, everybody. Fox reporting they have identified the shooter. Even though the title of the video right now is exactly that. Suspect identified is the title of the video. Yeah, they're trying to find the individual, Dante. Thanks for your update, man. Without you, we would be lost. Gray, you're so mean. Right. Let's see. Why were the students in a particular room? Start at the beat. Why do we need to do that? It was a review of an exam. Like for the final, it was a review. Apparently you can just, it's just a random group of people. They don't take roll or anything like that. It's just people show up for it. We've already gone through all that. It was just a classroom reviewing for a final. You could show up if you wanted, and if you didn't have to show up. That one reporter at the end of last night's show was saying that there's footage in there. Why aren't they releasing that? He's trying to, maybe claiming that it's ICE related, etc. And I don't know. I mean, I'm more just sort of interested in the my focus on cases, I think it's when the last grasp of attention is when you start going for the conspiracy angle right out of the chute. That means you don't have anything else to talk about. I could see the cover-up, stuff like that, but in the meantime, we're actually trying to still find the individual, and that's what they're doing right now. So that part's more important to me. Now, after the fact, when everything's said and done, then you can go back and do the Monday morning quarterbacking and decide, wow, look at this, man. The university did this, 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 and this, and this. And that doesn't really change the facts of what happened in terms of the killing. It's just sort of like, you know, why it took so long, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, for me, it's just not, I don't like that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was for, I think in this one it was like an economics final. It's just, you know, the person that a lot of people claim was this, the target was the, I think the female, last name Cook, who was the, I think her Ella, was that her first name? She was the vice president of the Republican Party on campus, you know, for students, right? Don't you guys agree with me? Do you guys like looking into, like, oh wow, there was this footage in the classroom and they didn't do this and this and this, when we're still trying to actually find the guy? You know, it's just not really interesting to me. And I guess that's for the other channels. They always do better, man. The conspiracy channels, boy, whenever they start going, man, you guys love watching those. And people like us who just do the factual information of the cases get left in the dust. Well, I thought you did a minute ago, Timothy. Yeah, it was a voluntary study session. Right. Exactly. I said it was for economics. Yeah, that's what they're saying, that he was identified. Let's go to this other article here. Let's see. This is from CBS News. I mean, that's a pretty good source, right? Even though they're, you know, politically oriented when politics are involved. A person of interest has been identified in the deadly mass shooting at Brown University. Multiple sources familiar with the investigation told CBS News on Thursday. Law enforcement has identified a person, and a search for that individual is underway, the sources said. 2 students were killed and 9 more wounded when the gunman opened fire Saturday afternoon inside a classroom on the Ivy League University campus in Providence, Rhode Island, authorities said. The shooting occurred in the school's Barris and Hawley Engineering Building during final exams. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, police said a male suspect had managed to escape. And by the way, the person that's in the video that has been called the suspect in the case was identified and described by the survivors in there. And if you just look at the timing of it, it all makes sense. He's walking around the neighborhood, blah, 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 blah. Then he exits right after the shooting. All right, so it's like the odds of that not being the shooter, given the description and the timing of his movements, are virtually 0. And by the way, guys, if you're watching the show and you have the ability to help support the channel, maybe buy some channel memberships for people who can't afford them, that would be great. My channel relies on you guys on a daily basis to generate income. There virtually is no ad revenue on these live streams when we do them. I don't know why they make it different, but it is. When you make a video, there's some, but if you don't get like 10 to 15,000, 20,000 views, it's worthless. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, police said a male suspect had managed to escape from the building. Escape? He just walked out of the building. He didn't escape anywhere. He just walked out. In the hours and days that followed, police and the FBI released images. There wasn't even reported of an active shooting for like over 10 minutes after he had already left. Okay? So that's crazy, right? Like he'd already walked down the street and was out of there at that time. I wonder if somebody was able to find some surveillance footage where it actually shows him getting into his car too. Like somebody said, hey, I got him right here. And then they were able to track back with a license plate. Who knows? Hey, thanks, TW. Yep. I don't know what that means, Hugo. Nobody knows what that means. All right, let's see. They described as a person of interest walking around a nearby neighborhood several hours before the first 911 call. The person in the image wore black clothing and a face mask. None of the footage pictured is clearly. A video released on Tuesday, though blurry, was the clearest picture of the person of interest. That's the one on where you just see the side view. Let's see. Where's another one? Here's another one that's talking about a tie. Police are investigating possible ties between Saturday's shooting at Brown University and Monday's slaying. And this is coming out today, right after they've identified the person. So wouldn't it be interesting if this person lives near MIT, you know, and it makes sense. And it is, you know, it's all on the East Coast over there. Everything's kind of close to each other over there. God, Jesus, I've already gone over there. And just say police, man. Everyone tries to get all clever and cute and type in little different names. Just speak clearly on my channel, okay? Just these little, hey, is there anything on the Popo page on the Facebook? Yeah. No, I just checked. If there's something new, it happened 10 seconds ago. Police are investigating possible ties between Saturday's shooting at Brown University and Monday's slaying of a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The target, 12 investigators have learned. Senior law enforcement officials tell Target 12 that federal, state, and local authorities are now examining a potential connection between the two crimes. Multiple people familiar with the investigation said they have discovered evidence showing the two may be linked. Wow, I mean, that's crazy, right? What do you guys think that is? Okay. Trying to get, I'm getting emails in here really quick. All right, here we go. I mean, do you guys agree with me at this point? Shouldn't we, let's look into the failures and any sort of cover-up after we get all this part done. Conspiracy theorist channels, their initial reaction is every single thing is a conspiracy. And they go down that route right out of the gate because that's what their viewers want them to sell. So virtually almost every time they're doing shows, it's a lie just to sell to you. It almost never becomes true. So hopefully you're here because you just want to figure out what the hell happened. And later on, we can do the Monday morning quarterbacking and decipher any problems that went on. Don't you guys agree? Put a 1 if that's how you want to do this. And even if it's not a 1, I'm not doing it the way you want me to. All right? Not doing conspiracies. That's what my channel is, okay? Those other channels do that. Sadly, they have a foothold in the, quote, true crime world, and they shouldn't. And unfortunately, a lot of people get suckered into watching that bullshit, like Candace Owens. This other clown that's making videos now that was doing the Charlie Kirk shooting. Now he's covering this one. And, of course, right out of the chute, it's a conspiracy theory. Ridiculous. Let's see. Timothy Cecil, thank you. I don't think a professor was the target because no professors were shot. Well, somebody does say that the person shot at the chalkboard first is like where the professor was supposed to be. And maybe the professor wasn't there yet at the time. Also, I think the shooter was someone other than what everybody thinks now because they just identified him. Right, that's what I just said. Yeah, they seem to have identified him late last night. Now, it's possible that the person that everybody's mentioning was the person. They just weren't able to confirm anything. So late last night, they finally got the confirmation and identified the person. You know, so it could be that his name was something they had. We don't know. I think it was like an AR-15 type, because that's what the explanation was by at least one person. Said it was this longer gun, etc. And there was all these different shots that were fired. So I don't know, man, but I don't know how they would have got it in there. Was it in, the suspect one and individual number two, or suspect number two, whatever the hell you want to call them. Those people were, that's just absolutely part of the case. And what they were doing, we don't know. I have absolutely no idea. Maybe that person, I mean, it's, I don't know. Was that person, what if suspect 2 was actually supposed to be one of the people in the class, and maybe even a victim? I don't know. Wouldn't you have shot him on the street then? I don't know. It's just such a bizarre situation, especially with the person chasing after the first one. So let's just keep looking at this one. Senior law enforcement officials tell Target 12 that federal, state, and local authorities are now examining a potential connection between the two crimes. Multiple people familiar with the investigation said they have discovered evidence showing the two may be linked. The possible connection marks a shift in the investigation. Ted Dock, special agent in charge of the FBI Boston office, said at a briefing Tuesday that there seems to be no connection between the two shootings. The next briefing on the investigation is scheduled to be held supposed to be in like 18 minutes, Thursday at police headquarters. The violence began around 4 p.m. on Saturday when an unidentified gunman shot and killed 2 students. Ella Cook, again missing, doesn't have the E, so maybe it doesn't have the E, but it was in one article. Ella Cook and Muhammad Aziz Umarzakov, and injured 9 other after opening fire inside a Brown engineering building. 2 days later, an unidentified gunman shot MIT professor Nuno Loureiro multiple times. So what if the bullets match? See, there you go. Now we have more shooting. And I mean, we already knew that the MIT guy was shooting, but maybe that's how they've connected them, is the shell casings, and perhaps they've even examined, if they were shot from the same gun. And that would be absolutely crazy. And that's only about 50 miles north. Now, this has been discussed since then, man. Wow, are these connected because they're so close to each other? 2 days after, they still hadn't caught the first guy, so obviously he could have gotten over there and shot, right? For sure. And then he died at a local hospital in Providence. The unidentified suspect wore a dark jacket, mask, and hat. Surveillance video captured him walking. Did they ever have any surveillance, though, of Loureiro's shooting? In Brooklyn, a Boston suburb, an unidentified killer entered Loureiro's home on Gibb Street. The suspect shot the professor multiple times and has since remained at large. So both are at large, right? And so that easily could have been the first one, only 50 miles away. And so now it sort of seems more like terrorism if they are connected, because there's no connection whatsoever between the people shot at Brown University and this MIT professor. I wonder what the reason behind the shooting would be. He was named last year to lead the Plasma Science and Fusion Center. That's crazy, right? In January, President Joe Biden awarded Loureiro and nearly 400 other scientists with the Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers. All right. Well, let's see if there's more news that's come out. Brown University suspect identified. Somehow that's got a leak. Okay, this is 9 minutes ago. Let's listen to them.
Ted, Daniel said, I know it was your 25 Investigate source that told you, in fact, that they have identified, at the very least identified, perhaps not captured, the suspected mass shooter. You're joining us live on the phone. You're in you're right there. Okay, Ted, you're live in Providence. So what else are you gleaning from your source at this time?
Well, my understanding is the identification was made sometime yesterday evening or last night. And obviously, authorities did not want to get that information out there immediately due to the fact that they wanted to be able to hunt this guy and to find this person. But my source is telling me that an identification of the person suspected to be the brown shooter has been made, and they are actively trying to find that person. As you said, there is a news conference that's expected in less than an hour, and we're hoping at that time that authorities do feel comfortable releasing whatever images or information they have about this person. As I reported yesterday, the last several sort of big manhunts that we've had, the Charlie Kirk shooter, Luigi Mangione, those have all involved the public identifying a picture of somebody and then phoning it in to law enforcement. And as the law enforcement, retired law enforcement person I spoke with yesterday, he called the public the force multiplier, Carrie, that, you know, that they can be a big help in trying to cover a dragnet of this size. And, you know, it has been, what, 6 days now, and this person certainly would have had time to get anywhere, especially because this person could have gone on a train, could have gone on a bus, could have gone on an airplane before yesterday, because until
This guy easily could be connected, so it's interesting. Now, that was something mentioned days ago, that maybe the shooter at Brown is connected to MIT. He takes off. They don't know how he got out of there. I thought it was, you know, interesting yesterday when we were, you know, my original theory was that when the person left, they wouldn't have gone into the red area. So I just kind of blocked it off, and then maybe he went up here, got up there, and then made it over the bridge. However, that theory went out the window yesterday when, after the suspect walked up here like this, they must have continued over here and then turned either right there and then went like that, or went to there, turned right, and then they were walking over here in this direction, sort of outside of the area that was sort of the original, you know, kind of moving around in there. So as he went this direction, so it makes you think, you know, obviously there's another bridge here that maybe there's a way that he could have got onto the freeway, perhaps coming under there. I'm not really sure how it works, but, you know, then it makes you think the vehicle was parked somewhere down here. I mean, obviously he got there somehow, right? So maybe some surveillance that came in last night showed the vehicle, and they were able to get a clear enough shot of it, maybe where they could identify a license plate, or the, you know, again, sort of the online community identified somebody, sent it in, and it all made sense, and they were able to determine that was him. Don't know. But hey, guys, my channel relies on you guys for the support for the channel. If you guys have the ability, maybe buy some channel memberships, send in super chats, etc. At the end of each month, I try to donate thousands of dollars out of the income for the channel. Of course, the channel needs an income to survive, and so it'd be helping my channel out. It also helps at the end of the month, where this year we've given out $42,000 so far, and I need your guys' support to be able to do that. So if you like what I do on this channel and feel like I'm worth it, I would appreciate your support. Thank you.
Still, yesterday evening, they didn't have a name, or they didn't know who they were looking for, so the person could have easily traveled freely, Carrie.
So, Ted, just really quickly for our viewers, we've been saying we're expecting this update at 4 o'clock. We are just learning now that has been postponed. I don't know, Aaron, my producer, did they give us another time or just postponed for now? Postponed for now. We do not have another time yet. So, Ted, I'm curious if your sources had any information on whether they will, in fact, put out a picture, put out an identification when they do update us.
Yeah.
It's curious now that this
is
has
coming
been
up.
postponed. That could mean
Apparently
any
in
number
10
of
minutes.
things.
We'll see.
But like you said, is it not in their best interest at this point to get more eyeballs on this person?
Yeah, and I the word has been out since I think about 2. I think the first reporting came out that the shooter or
Hey,
the
thanks.
suspected shooter
Thank
had
you,
been
Cinnamon Sin
identified.
Freak. Thank you. Yeah, I also wonder if that second person that was in the scene is also part of how they identified him. So I think it's something like that. It's either surveillance or that second person spoke and they found that person, and that person knew the name. Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But thanks, Cinnamon Sin Freak. Anybody else out there wants to help? That'd be great too.
I think if you don't find someone within this, sort of 18-hour window, Carrie, then you have to think that, okay, we got to get the image out. We got to share what we know so we can get the public involved. But I'm not sure. That's interesting that they decided to delay this news conference, and that the first one, this was scheduled, I think, yesterday to happen at 4, and the fact that this is the first one, to my understanding, that is getting delayed, you have to wonder right now they're probably sitting together trying to decide, hey, how do we tackle this?
Oh, so it's
how
going
do
to
we
be
deal with
delayed.
this? We know that this is out there. We
After
know who
5,
this guy
okay.
is.
Well, I'm gonna have to
how are we going to move
leave
forward,
then.
Carrie?
A number of things could have come up between, the time they set this press conference. We've only been hearing from them once a day throughout
Maybe,
the week
Sarah.
around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. So now we're on standby for that.
That would mean they're directly
Professor in
connected
Brookline.
for
Boston
certain.
25 News now is staying on top of all breaking.
If the professor that was shot identified somebody, they wouldn't be saying they're looking into a connection. They would say there is a connection, because if they believe that the person, they have a name of the suspect in brown and somehow the name was given by somebody that knew the professor, I don't know. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, so it's Eastern time. Yeah, so up here, let's see. Somebody wanted me to trace it again. The first footage was at 2 o'clock. Let's see, where is that? So this is 2:04. Where was the 2 o'clock one? We can just go over to over here. All right, so that was the same. So where is this shot from? Hold on. 2 o'clock, and there he is walking. Goes across and goes that direction. I haven't worked with that footage for a while, so I'm going to have to go up and try to figure out where that was again. I know it's right around in here. Let me go look at the other map. The other video, I mean. This is the one right here. So that says 56 Cook Street. 56 Cook Street. Okay, right there. There you go. And I'm not sure. So that says 2. It should be earlier than that. That's why I didn't see that. I think it's here twice, though, right? Because remember, later they're walking across. So this one's also there. So it's at the same spot. They got him at 2 o'clock and 2:56. So let me put that in there. Hey, thanks, Sarah. My go-to channel when there's breaking news. Hey, cool. Thank you. All right. So that's 2 o'clock and 2:52. So we see in this video, the person comes in like this. This is where we first see the video at 2 o'clock. So there's obviously other video. Like, for example, this camera here should have picked them up too. So they've left out a lot of video we don't get to see for some reason. But the person walks like this, and then right over here walks this direction at 2 o'clock. Then the next thing we see is at 2:04. It's right there. So obviously the person walked down like this, Came over here at 2:04. And let's see. Then I think I guess we're gonna have to watch it because they might have like came back the same direction because at 2:08 they're over here, and 2:08 there also. So let's see what it looks like on the video. I remember that one time they did reverse and come back. So there's that video, and yeah, okay. See that? So they walk by at 2:04 actually. 2:04, I think it says that, right? Yep, 2:04. And then they come back at 2:07. So I might have to fix that. Yeah, we do have that. We have 2:04 right there, and then I have a 2:13, so he must have come by there again. Let's go look at that. So did he walk by there again? Yeah, so there it was again, right? Right there. So that's 2:13. So he walks by that camera 3 times. And then 2:07. So I'm going to put that up there. 2:04. And then 2:07 p.m. I need to definitely make an animation on this. I mean, I was trying to get one done, but I got kind of snagged up trying to create the 3D model. So you got 2:04, 2:07, and 2:13. So 2:04, and then he goes over here somewhere, and we don't know where he goes. And then 3 minutes later, he comes back this direction. And then he walks around. So then I think we then see him walking this way at 2:08. In fact, I think that's the first time we see him in the shot. Let's see. When he walks by where the brick street is. Let's see. Yeah, right there. And yeah, that's 2:08. And he's heading... Let me play it. At 2:08, he's going that direction. So let's see if that makes sense. That's right. So look at right at here. He's walking this way at 2:04, 2:07 back this way, and then walks by the camera heading in that direction. And then later in that minute, he's right here on the corner, and that's where he's sort of loitering, standing around, waiting, etc. To watch. We'll get right to that. There he is right there. You know, the as he looks across the street and sees that car over there. Hey, thank you so much, Shelly. Or wait, no, Shelly. It's hard to read that. Shelly Raposa. Shelly Raposa. Well, thank you so much. Very generous. Thank you so much. All right, so he stands right there and he's loitering, right? And then I think at that point he must go, and this is where it's sort of an odd thing because he doesn't go around like you would think. So he's loitering right here, you guys. He's loitering right there, and he's looking down the street. I think he's looking for suspect number 2. Then he walks this direction, and then goes all the way around. And it takes him a while. He must be just sort of, you know, and we don't know if he stayed at this spot for longer and they just didn't give us the video. But then at 2:13, he walks this direction. And then he shows up right here at 2:16. And that's the corner that he runs from. So he doesn't walk down the street right past where that guy would have been. Isn't that weird? So here's the strange thing is I think that in this image right here, see this? I think in this image it's possible that while he was loitering in that corner, that this guy was right here and he didn't want to go down that street. And the person stayed in here and then eventually exits right there. And check it out. I mean, hopefully this is making sense, right? So you remember when he's standing on the corner loitering. Let's go back. Let's just leave this the way it is. And I'm going to go to the video where he's loitering. Like right here, right? So he's just standing around, you know. And this is 2:08:53. And then he's looking down that street, right? He's probably watching the guy. Because watch. That's right here on this corner. That little path he's standing on is right there. Hey, thanks, K in Maine. That little path that guy's standing on is right there, so he's looking at him. And then he goes this way instead, all the way around, and then at 213 goes this way, and then makes it to that corner here at 216. All right, and then let's just go forward. So here he is, and then this is at 216, he's at the corner. And then here's the guy that was just to the right in that little cement driveway. You know, that's suspect number 2 right there. And now he's like, you know, it's almost like the guy was doing something, you know, that's related to what he wants to do. And then he sees him and he runs. And then again, they fill it in with 8 seconds of time. And then here comes the guy, and then he runs after him down the street there. It's crazy. And then the guy, after, I mean, is this all making sense to you? I mean, I know I'm moving around, but right here is where that corner is. He sees the guy. Once he goes all the way around the block, he's right there. He sees this person, and then he starts running. Then this person walks over here, comes around, and the guy that was running, suspect 1, slows down dramatically because 8 seconds later, he's just right there. Then this person comes around and sees him, and the guy did start moving him, but the distance is a lot less than it would have been had the guy just kept running. So he comes around, and then he runs with them, and then just moments later, suspect number 1 is by himself walking down this street on camera, filmed from a camera on this house, and one right up here on this corner as he's coming. And then we know that after that he walked around this corner and he started running again right by this house and went quickly around this corner again. So is it possible that when suspect 2 went in here, he left something, and there were, I don't know what the running is about, but maybe he sort of let him know, okay, it's over there. And then he comes all the way around. I'd love to see if suspect 1 goes back in to the area where suspect 2 was seen walking. Wouldn't that be crazy? Suspect 2, however, ends up walking way up here at some point. So it's obviously after that. I would imagine that surveillance footage was probably something around 225 or so up here. That's what I would guess. It's just pure guess, but I think he kind of left the area after they both ran. Isn't that wild? And you know what's weird is Fox News today, when they were reporting on it, they said, well, suspect 1, let me show you what they said. And we'll look at the video at the same time. It's just ludicrous. The guy said in this video right here, and by the way, this shot right there, see, that's going to have suspect 2 walking by this same video, but he's going to be going the other direction. You're going to see suspect 2, if now it seems like they're in a different spot in the investigation where we might not be getting any more video. But he walked in right here and walked over here and did something. And then later he walks by like that to go to the corner where suspect 1 starts running, but suspect 2 should be seen on camera walking there. But let me show you what they said. So on this footage right here, Fox News said, okay, now look, you can see suspect number 1, he's right there and he's running. And then suspect 1 runs again. They said suspect runs again. Look. See that? See that suspect 1 again running. Well, no, it's not suspect 1 running. It's suspect 2 running after suspect 1. So it's strange how like they didn't really seem to get it, you know. And it's always like that, and it's so frustrating. Do you guys ever have that same sense of frustration when you know something to be truth and other than what they're saying, and they just keep saying the same thing because they didn't take the time to look at it? I do. I am. Anyways. All right. Well, I don't know if I don't think they're having that press conference. It doesn't sound like now. So maybe they'll be having it a little bit later. So maybe I'll just come back on for that. But it does sound like they've identified the individual. They haven't caught him yet. And they're also saying that there is almost seems like a strong possibility of a connection between the Brown University shooting and the MIT shooting. All right. So does anybody have any questions about, I mean, I can sit here for a couple more minutes. What do you guys think? What do you want answered up here? Now, I think his car now was down in this area somewhere. You know, this is after the shooting, so he was trying to get out of there. And, you know, so it's likely his car was somewhere down in here. They didn't realize the still frame. Well, you wouldn't even have to realize that the still frame is inserted. How would the first guy get back there and run again? It doesn't make any sense. You know? It doesn't make any sense. You can't run around the block in 8 seconds. You know? It's so it doesn't make sense logically. That's why I immediately went, yeah, no, that has to be somebody else. Now, the MIT shooting was a professor. He was 47-year-old, you know, like a really genius level person. Here, I'll just open this up again. It says right here, police investigating the possible ties between Saturday's shooting at Brown and Monday's slaying of a professor at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. The Target 12 investigators have learned. Senior law enforcement officials tell Target 12 that federal, state, and local authorities are now examining a potential connection between the two crimes. Multiple people familiar with the investigation said the possible connection marks a shift in the investigation. Let's see. 2 days later, an unidentified gunman shot MIT professor Nuno Loureiro multiple times inside his home in Brookline, Massachusetts, about 50 miles north of Providence. He died at a local hospital. And he was like, you know, right here it says, he was named last year to lead the Plasma Science and Fusion Center, working on advanced clean energy technology and other research. So there you go. Why he was killed, who the hell knows? What are you talking about? You know what's funny is, like, I try to be right on my channel, and people always go, Gray, you always have to be right. And it's like, well, don't you want to be right? Hey, put a 1 if you wake up in the morning going, boy, I can't wait to be wrong today, everybody, and prove that I don't know shit. Yeah, no. I try to, like, literally figure out what's going on and put all the pieces together and try to, you know, I try to back engineer cases based on the information that we're given so that we are close to the level of what law enforcement has, you know. We try to do that, and way ahead of the news 90% of the time. How did the suspect know where the professor lived? I don't know. I mean, you know, you just look it up. I bet you I could find where the professor lived. Just looking up on Ben Verified. Let's see. I can just do it right now. Since he's not alive, I'm not doxing anybody. Yeah, let's see. And the name. Okay, Nuno Loureiro. Let's see. There's probably only like one person with that name, I would imagine. And if you're out there and you want to help support the channel, that'd be great. We're having one of those lulls again. 47. There. It looks like that's him. Brookline, Massachusetts. And what street did they say that was on? This, for some reason, oh, they do have. They do not have his full address. They just have Brookline, Massachusetts. So I don't know how they figured out where he lived. Apparently, it's an apartment. But yeah, this is the right guy. They just don't have the name, the address in there. I wonder if we go to possible relatives and maybe hit one of these. Will that have it? No, it's New Bedford. So that's not there. As a goat rope. What does that mean, man? So the suspect died. Yeah, he died. He was alive for a little bit and then he died. Yeah, I have been verified. His address wasn't in there. Furthermore, that behavior isn't helpful when trying to find the guy. Okay, anyways. Thanks, everybody. We'll come back on when, probably when the press conference happens. Thank you to Susie Clue, Terry, and then Timothy Cecil. Check out the video that I just put out, by the way, everybody. I just put it out right before this news came out. It gives you more specific information, little things to observe. Sarah, Shelley, and Kay in Maine. Thank you guys very much for your support. And that's it. We did get. I did get the Richard Allen's. What do you call it? His appellate. I guess he filed something in court, like an appeal or something. So I do have that, but this is way more important at the time. Anyways, thanks everybody. See you guys later. Thanks for those who considered helping support the channel. Appreciate it. Hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe. And until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. Alright, everybody? Talk to you later.